All right, let's dive into the Deathwatch, those elite space marines dedicated to fighting Xenos threats across the Imperium. It's fascinating how their existence is shrouded in such secrecy. It makes them one of the most intriguing elements of the Adeptus Astartes, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. The fact that even their own chapters are kept in the dark about their missions speaks volumes about the sensitive nature of their work and the level of trust placed in these individuals.
Yeah, it really makes you think about the kind of space marine who thrives in that environment, right? Someone who can
Uh,
set aside chapter traditions and rivalries to work alongside brothers from vastly different backgrounds.
It's true, being selected for the Deathwatch is an incredible honor, a testament to a Space Marine's skill and experience. But it requires a unique set of qualities, a willingness to adapt not just in terms of combat tactics, but also in their mindset, their ability to integrate into this new brotherhood.
Before we get into the specifics of their organization and operations, though, I'm curious about their origins. There seem to be two conflicting accounts of how the Deathwatch was formed, which adds another layer of mystery to their history.
You're right, there's a lot of debate around that. The first account places their formation during the War of the Beast in M32. That was a time when the Imperium was really teetering on the brink of collapse, facing that massive orc war led by the fearsome warlord known as the Beast.
Oh yeah, the Beast, one of the most terrifying warlords in Imperial history. I mean, his Wa nearly brought the Imperium to its knees.
Exactly, and the sheer scale of the threat forced the Imperium to adopt some pretty unconventional tactics. This led to the creation of these specialized Astartes kill teams designed to target strategic assets and disrupt the enemy's war effort.
So it was a response born out of desperation, a way to fight a war that seemed unwinnable.
Precisely. And the credit for conceiving this idea often goes to Lord Commander Corland, the last surviving Imperial fist. He recognized the need for a force that could operate with surgical precision against a seemingly unstoppable foe.
It's fascinating how such a moment of existential crisis can lead to the birth of an organization as enduring and influential as the Deathwatch.
No.
But you mentioned a second account, right? One that's shrouded in even more mystery.
Yeah, the second account is really intriguing. It suggests a potentially much older origin for the Deathwatch, tying their roots to a conclave of Inquisitor lords on Orphite IV. Unfortunately, the details are pretty scarce, lost to the mists of time, or perhaps deliberately obscured to protect the Deathwatch's ancient secrets.
It's like a historical puzzle with missing pieces, leaving us to speculate about the true extent of their involvement in the Imperium's long and bloody history. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What secrets are they hiding? What role have they played in shaping the galaxy as we know it?
Absolutely. This second account raises some really big questions about the true scope and purpose of the Deathwatch, hinting at a history that extends far beyond the War of the Beast. But regardless of which account you subscribe to, it's clear that the Deathwatch has a long and storied past filled with countless campaigns against a wide array of Xenos threats.
I'm eager to hear about some of these campaigns. What are some of the more notable examples that really illustrate the Deathwatch's operational flexibility and the challenges they faced?
Well, one that stands out is the Purge of the Urgals in M32. It's a testament to their enduring legacy, really showcasing their ability to adapt to unconventional foes and the brutal nature of their engagements.
The Urgals, weren't they those nightmarish creatures that preyed on the dead, spreading terror and disease wherever they went?
Exactly. They were a real scourge on the Imperium, and the Death Watch played a crucial role in containing them. And the Purge of the Urgals is also notable for the involvement of the legendary Death Watch Dreadnought Xenomortis. His very existence speaks to the organization's longevity and the accumulation of experience within its ranks.
A Dreadnought from M32 still fighting in the present day. That's incredible. I mean, that speaks to the dedication and resilience of these warriors. But let's jump forward a bit, shall we? I'm curious about the Deathwatch's involvement in more recent conflicts, particularly in M41 and M42.
We have the Second Battle of Damnos, which highlights their ability to collaborate with other chapters. In this instance, they fought alongside the Ultramarines chapter to reclaim the ice world from the Necrons.
So they're not just lone wolves operating in the shadows. They can integrate into larger Imperial forces when the situation demands it.
Exactly. They can adapt to a variety of strategic needs, playing a vital role in large-scale conflicts as well as smaller covert operations.
It speaks to their strategic importance and the trust the Imperium places in them. But what about M42? I understand the Deathwatch was heavily involved in several major conflicts during that tumultuous period.
Absolutely. M42 is a particularly challenging time for the Imperium, with multiple Xenos threats emerging simultaneously. And the Deathwatch was right in the thick of it, facing some of their most grueling trials.
It's almost as if the galaxy itself was testing the limits of the Imperium's defenses, pushing the Deathwatch to its breaking point.
In a way, you could say that. The Doom of Fort Starshield, for example, stands a grim reminder of the sacrifices these warriors make every day. They face an overwhelming Orc-Wa, led by the infamous Gazkul Mag Uruk Thraka.
Gazkul Thraka, the Prophet of the Wa, one of the most cunning and brutal Orc warlords to ever plague the Imperium. He's a real thorn in the side of the Imperium, isn't he? Always popping up where you least expect him, leading his Wa on these devastating campaigns.
He is, and the Deathwatch knew they were outmatched at Fort Starshield, but they launched a valiant, though ultimately sacrificial assault, buying the Imperium time to prepare for the inevitable onslaught. It's a stark reminder that they often operate on the razor's edge, facing overwhelming odds in defense of the Imperium.
They are, truly, the shield against the darkness, willing to lay down their lives to protect humanity from the horrors that lurk beyond the stars. Their courage is truly inspiring. But they achieved some notable victories in M42 as well.
Yes. The Battle of Kandashi, for example, showcases their tactical flexibility and ability to respond to evolving threats. They strategically deployed Venator and Primaris Fortis kill teams to counter a Tau invasion, demonstrating their capacity to incorporate new technologies and tactics.
So they're not just stuck in their ways, clinging to ancient traditions. They're constantly evolving, adapting to the changing nature of the Xenos threat.
Exactly. They're always striving to stay one step ahead of their enemies, which is crucial in a galaxy as vast and unpredictable as the one we inhabit.
Speaking of unpredictability, the Chalnath Expanse campaign really highlights the complex and ever-shifting battlefields that Deathwatch must navigate.
Yeah.
I mean, facing a multifaceted conflict involving the Imperium, the Tau Empire, Genestealer cults, and another Orc-Wa, it's mind-boggling.
It is, and that campaign really demonstrated their ability to adapt to a fluid situation, to shift their strategies on the fly, and counter a diverse range of threats.
It makes you appreciate their operational structure. Unlike traditional Space Marine chapters that deploy in large formations, the Deathwatch specializes in small, highly specialized kill teams.
That's a key element of their success. Those kill teams are tailored to specific threats, allowing them to respond quickly and efficiently to Xenos incursions across the vast expanse of the Imperium.
It's like having a scalpel instead of a hammer, able to perform precise strikes with devastating effect. But what about those situations where a scalpel isn't enough? Surely there are times when they need to bring overwhelming force to bear.
Of course, in truly dire situations, multiple kill teams or even entire chapters in Imperial Guard regiments might be called upon to combat those overwhelming Xenos threats. The Deathwatch in those instances acts as a coordinating force, leveraging their expertise and knowledge of Xenos warfare.
So they're not just warriors, they're strategists, advisors, a vital link in the Imperium's chain of command. They hold a unique position within the Adeptus Astartes, able to call upon the resources of the wider Imperium. But all of this begs the question, where do they operate from? I mean, these elite warriors, these strategists, they need bases infrastructure, right?
Of course, they can't just materialize out of thin air. That's where watch fortresses and stations come in strategically located hubs, serving as command centers, training grounds, and armories.
Watch fortresses and stations. Fascinating. Yeah. I'm eager to learn more about these bastions of the Imperium and the secrets they hold.
They are fascinating, each one a testament to the Imperium's determination to combat the Xenos threat. They're like fortified islands in a sea of stars, each one a beacon of hope in a galaxy shrouded in darkness.
Yeah, each watch fortress has a unique hierarchy designed to ensure the smooth operation of its various kill teams and support personnel. At the top of this hierarchy, you have your watch commanders, also known as watch masters. I see. So they're the ones who hold ultimate authority within their fortress, overseeing all aspects of the Deathwatch's operations in that region.
Right, exactly. They're responsible for everything from strategic planning to resource allocation to the training and deployment of kill teams.
They must be exceptional individuals to handle all that. I mean, both in terms of combat prowess and strategic thinking.
Well, absolutely. They have to be able to command the respect of some of the most seasoned and headstrong Space Marines in the Imperium.
And below the watch commanders you have.
Well, then you have your watch captains who lead individual watch companies.
So each watch company specializes in a particular type of Xenos threat or combat doctrine.
Yeah, that's right. And then you have your watch lieutenants and watch sergeants who command the kill teams on the ground.
So it's a pretty clear chain of command reflecting both the hierarchical nature of the Adeptus Astartes and the specialized nature of the Deathwatch's operations.
Right. It's a system that's been honed over millennia, proven effective in countless campaigns against a wide variety of Xenos threats.
But it takes more than just a rigid hierarchy to make the Deathwatch function, I imagine. I mean, they must have a variety of specialized roles within each fortress, just like a regular chapter, right? To keep everything running smoothly and to maintain their fighting strength.
Absolutely. You can't just have everyone running around with bolters and chain swords.
Right. You need people to tend to the wounded, maintain the equipment, provide spiritual guidance, that sort of thing.
Precisely. So you have your apothecaries, of course, tending to the wounded and overseeing the gene seed.
And then your tech marines maintaining and customizing the Deathwatch's arsenal of weaponry and armor.
Right. And of course, no Space Marine force would be complete without its librarians providing psychic support and guidance.
And the chaplains bolstering the spiritual resolve of these warriors who face some truly unimaginable horrors.
It's all part of maintaining the balance, ensuring that the Deathwatch remains a cohesive and effective fighting force.
It's a reminder that even in an organization as specialized and secretive as the Deathwatch, the fundamental elements of a Space Marine chapter remain essential. The care for the gene seed, the reverence for technology, the utilization of psychic powers, the unwavering faith in the Emperor, it's all connected.
It's all part of the tapestry of the Adeptus Astartes, a reminder that even the most elite warriors are still part of a larger brotherhood bound by ancient traditions and a shared purpose.
Now, I read somewhere that a typical watch fortress divides its forces into 5 watch companies, each with its own specialized kill teams. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Each watch company specializes in a particular type of Xenos threat or combat doctrine. So you might have one company dedicated to fighting orcs, another specializing in combating tyrannids, another focused on the Eldar, and so on.
And the deployment of even a single kill team signifies a serious threat to the Imperium.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It means that the situation is serious enough to warrant the attention of the Deathwatch. I mean, these guys aren't sent out on routine patrols, they're deployed when things are getting really bad.
So what about the deployment of an entire watch company? That must indicate a truly apocalyptic situation.
Yeah, the deployment of an entire watch company means that the Imperium is facing an existential threat, something that could potentially lead to the fall of an entire sector or even a segmentum.
Wow. It's a sobering thought knowing that there are threats out there that could warrant such a response.
It is, but that's the reality of the galaxy we live in. There are things out there that would make even the bravest Space Marine tremble, and it's the Deathwatch that stands between us and those horrors.
It really makes you appreciate the weight of responsibility these warriors carry on their shoulders. But let's shift our focus a bit. Let's talk about the individuals who've spent a significant amount of time in the Deathwatch. I mean, the veterans, those who have dedicated years, if not centuries, to fighting the Xenos threat.
The Deathwatch veterans, they're a fascinating bunch.
What sets them apart from their brethren in other chapters? I mean, what kind of mindset does it take to thrive in such an environment?
Well, they have a unique perspective on the Imperium struggles, that's for sure. I mean, they've faced a wider variety of Xenos threats than most Space Marines ever encounter. They've seen things that would drive lesser men mad.
And they've had to adapt to the Deathwatch's unique operational style, working alongside battle brothers from different chapters, each with their own traditions and ways of war.
Right. It's a crucible that forges them into even more formidable warriors, but it also tests their loyalties and their ability to set aside differences for the greater good.
I can imagine it can be quite a shock for a Space Marine, accustomed to the rigid traditions and insular nature of their chapter, to suddenly find themselves fighting alongside brothers from chapters they might have considered rivals or even enemies in the past.
Oh, absolutely. It's a challenge that some struggle to overcome. But true Deathwatch veterans don't just survive, they thrive. They embrace the diverse tactics and perspectives brought to the table by their new battle brothers.
So they form these bonds that transcend chapter affiliations, putting aside old rivalries for the sake of the mission.
Exactly. They come to understand that in the face of the Xenos threat, all Space Marines are brothers united in a common purpose.
But that brings up the question of loyalty. These veterans, they have their dedication to their original chapter, their new brotherhood within the Deathwatch, and then their duty to the Imperium as a whole. How do they navigate this complex web of loyalties?
It's a delicate balancing act that requires a lot of wisdom and introspection. They have to remember their roots while embracing their new role. They have to honor the traditions of their chapter while upholding the oaths they swore to the Deathwatch.
It's a testament to their character and their dedication to the Imperium that they're able to reconcile those seemingly conflicting loyalties.
It's what sets them apart from other Space Marines. They have a broader perspective, a deeper understanding of the Imperium and the threats it faces.
Now, speaking of conflicting loyalties, we can't talk about the Deathwatch without addressing the elephant in the room. chapter rivalries. It's no secret that different chapters within the Adeptus Astartes have their own long-held traditions and, let's just say, differing opinions on how things should be done.
Yeah, chapter rivalries are a fact of life in the Adeptus Astartes. I mean, these are warriors bred for combat, for unwavering loyalty to their chapter. Centuries of ingrained rivalry don't just vanish overnight.
So how do these dynamics play out within the Deathwatch? I mean, do those rivalries ever come to the surface and create tension within a kill team?
Of course they do. I mean, you can't just throw a bunch of Space Marines from different chapters together and expect them to all get along perfectly.
Right, there's bound to be some friction, some butting of heads, especially given the unique recruitment processes and traditions of each chapter.
Exactly. I mean, imagine a space wolf with his disdain for psychic powers serving alongside a librarian from the Blood Ravens, a chapter known for its potent psychers.
Or an Iron Hands Tech Marine, with his disregard for the Codex Astartes, trying to work with an Ultramarine sergeant who adheres to it religiously.
Those are just a few examples of how chapter differences can create challenges within a Deathwatch kill team.
It sounds like a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
How does the Deathwatch overcome those challenges? How do they prevent those rivalries from undermining their missions?
Well, the key is the shared purpose, the common enemy they face. When the very survival of the Imperium is at stake, even the most bitter rivalries can be put on hold. The threat of the Xenos forces those Space Marines to set aside their differences and work together. They recognize that their petty squabbles pale in comparison to the existential threat facing humanity.
So it's the Xenos threat that ultimately unites them.
Exactly. It's the glue that holds the Deathwatch together. It's a reminder that despite their differences, all Space Marines are fighting for the same cause, the survival of the Imperium.
It's a powerful reminder that in the face of a common enemy, even the most divided can find unity. The Deathwatch becomes a crucible where those rivalries are tested and ultimately tempered into a stronger, more cohesive fighting force.
And you can't underestimate the role of the Watch commanders and captains in all this. They're the ones who have to foster a sense of unity within their kill teams. They have to recognize the strengths and weaknesses of each chapter represented and leverage those differences to create a more effective fighting force.
So they're not just warriors, they're diplomats, mediators. They have to understand the psychology of these Space Marines, these warriors who have been conditioned since childhood to be loyal to their chapter above all else.
Exactly. They have to be able to break through those barriers to build a new kind of brotherhood based on mutual respect and a shared commitment to the Imperium's survival.
So the Deathwatch isn't just about fighting Xenos. It's about breaking down barriers between chapters, forging a new kind of unity within the Adeptus Astartes.
In a way, you could say that. It's about taking the best of what each chapter has to offer and combining it into something truly extraordinary.
But let's move on to their combat doctrine. What sets the Deathwatch apart from other Space Marine forces in terms of how they fight?
Well, they rely on adaptable tactics and specialized weaponry, recognizing that every Xenos threat is different, requiring a tailored approach.
So it's not just about brute force charging into battle head-on.
No, it's about maximizing efficiency and lethality. It's about ensuring that every weapon, every tactic is chosen for a specific purpose. They study their enemies, learning their strengths and weaknesses, developing strategies that play to their advantages and minimize their vulnerabilities.
It's a more cerebral approach to warfare.
In a way, you could say that. They're not just mindless killing machines. They're thinking warriors. They're strategists, tacticians who use their minds as much as their weapons.
And they have the authority to call upon other Imperial forces, if needed, right? If a situation demands it, they can requisition everything from additional Space Marines to regiments of the Imperial Guard, even Titans, if the threat is significant enough.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They're not bound by the same restrictions as other Space Marine chapters. They have the authority to act independently, to requisition whatever resources they deem necessary to complete their mission.
That's a lot of power.
Oh.
It speaks to the trust that the Imperium places in them to make the right call when facing a Xenos incursion.
It does. It's a heavy burden to bear, but it's one that they carry with honor and determination.
Speaking of resources, let's talk about war gear.
Right.
What kind of specialized equipment and weaponry does the Deathwatch utilize? I imagine they have access to some of the most advanced and esoteric technology in the Imperium, considering the unique nature of their missions.
Oh yeah, the Deathwatch Armory is a sight to behold. I mean, they have access to the finest Imperial technology, customized and sanctified for Xenos extermination. You're talking specialized ammunition, everything from bioacid to promethium and plasma rounds, each designed for maximum damage against specific targets. They even have personalized power armor, often ancient suits with names reflecting their history and significance passed down through generations of Deathwatch veterans.
Wow, it sounds like they have a tool for every job, a weapon for every Xenos threat imaginable.
Pretty much. They've been fighting the Xenos for millennia, so they've had plenty of time to refine their arsenal and develop countermeasures for just about every alien weapon and tactic imaginable.
Can you give me some specific examples of these unique weapons? I mean, what makes them so effective?
Well, one of the more notable ones is the Armorbane Missile Launcher, a Jericho Reach variant, designed to take down heavily armored targets. You know, things like Orc Gargants or Tyrannid Carnifexes. Then you have the Balefire Gun, a deadly though rarely deployed flamer that uses radioactive compounds for increased lethality. It's particularly effective against hordes of lesser Xenos creatures. And for those who have earned it, there's the Guardian Bolt Pistol, a mark of status and courage awarded for exceptional service. It's as much a badge of honor as it is a weapon.
A symbol of their dedication to the Deathwatch and their skill in combating the Xenos threat.
Exactly. Those are just a few examples of the kind of specialized weaponry they have at their disposal.
Those are some impressive ranged weapons, but what about close combat? These are Space Marines, after all. They had to be proficient in hand-to-hand combat as well. What kind of melee weapons do they favor?
Well, they have your standard Astartes chainswords, of course, but they also have access to a variety of more specialized close combat weapons. Take the Astartes Executioner Axe, for example. It's a brutal weapon designed to cleave through flesh and bone.
Ugh, sounds messy.
It is. Or you have the Astartes Power Spear, capable of piercing even the toughest Xenos armor.
And for those who really want to make a statement, there's the heavy Thunderhammer.
Oh yeah, the Thunderhammer, a classic. It's capable of shattering bones and pulverizing flesh, leaving nothing but a crater where an enemy once stood.
It sounds like they've thought of everything equipping themselves for any eventuality. They're a walking arsenal, each weapon a testament to the Imperium's ingenuity and its unwavering commitment to the destruction of the Xenos threat. But technology isn't their only advantage, is it? I mean, they also utilize specialized tactics and strategies honed over millennia of fighting the most diverse and dangerous enemies the galaxy has to offer.
Oh yeah, the Deathwatch doesn't just rely on superior firepower. They're also masters of stealth and infiltration. They can strike from the shadows with deadly precision. They're experts in urban warfare, able to navigate the cramped confines of hive cities and turn them into death traps for their enemies. And they're equally adept at fighting in open terrain, utilizing flanking maneuvers and coordinated assaults to overwhelm their foes.
They sound unstoppable, like the Ultimate Warriors. A perfect blend of brute force, tactical brilliance, and unwavering faith.
They are a force to be reckoned with, that's for sure. They represent the culmination of the Imperium's long and bloody struggle against the alien.
It's almost as if they were specifically designed to be the Imperium's ultimate weapon against the Xenos threat. But we've only scratched the surface of the Deathwatch, haven't we? There's still so much more to explore, so many more layers to uncover. I'm eager to learn about the individuals who have shaped the Deathwatch, the heroes whose names echo through the halls of Watch fortresses, inspiring generations of Xenos hunters.
You're right, the Deathwatch is full of these incredible stories of heroism and sacrifice. I mean, these individuals are practically legends. Their deeds inspire awe and respect throughout the Imperium. Where should we even begin?
Let's start with the Watch commanders, the ones who have held the mantle of Watchmaster. Guided the Deathwatch through some of its most perilous trials.
Okay, yeah, those who stand at the pinnacle of the Deathwatch hierarchy are responsible for the lives of countless Space Marines. And of course, the success of missions that could determine the fate of entire worlds. We could talk about Asger Warfist.
Asger Warfist?
Yeah, Wolf Lord of the Space Wolves, chosen to be the very first Watch commander during the War of the Beast.
Wow. Talk about a trial by fire, leading this newly formed organization against a foe as terrifying as the Beast. It's hard to imagine the pressure he must have felt.
His leadership during that time cemented his place as a legend among the Deathwatch. Even today, his name is whispered with reverence in the halls of Watch fortresses across the galaxy.
It makes sense. I mean, his success during those dark times when the Imperium was on the brink of collapse speaks volumes about his skill as a leader, his tactical brilliance, his charisma, his ability to unite Space Marines from all those different chapters under a single banner. It's pretty amazing.
It is. He set the standard for all Watch commanders who came after him.
But what about those who served under these Watchmasters? The Watch captains and sergeants who led the kill teams into the heart of the Xenos threat.
Oh, their stories are just as compelling, filled with tales of valor and sacrifice, each one a testament to the courage and dedication of these warriors.
Give me an example.
Captain Bannon of the Imperial Fists, a brave leader who sacrificed himself to save his kill team during the defense of Tarsus Ultra.
Against the Tyranids.
Yeah, High Fleet Leviathan, they were relentless.
Yeah.
But Bannon held the line, gave his life to ensure his team could complete their mission.
Another stark reminder of the sacrifices these warriors make. They're not driven by glory or personal ambition. It's a deep-seated sense of duty to the Imperium, a willingness to lay down their lives for the billions of souls who depend on them.
And then there's Uriel Ventress. He was an Ultramarines captain, actually, who temporarily led a Deathwatch kill team.
Uriel Ventress, wasn't he a chapter master or something?
He would later become chapter master, but during the defense of Tarsus Ultra, he led a Deathwatch kill team. They infiltrated a Tyranid hive ship to deploy a gene poison.
Oh, talk about a suicide mission.
It was incredibly dangerous but successful. They played a key role in the eventual defeat of the Hive Fleet.
Uriel Ventress, a legend in his own right, fighting alongside the Deathwatch. It's a testament to the interconnected nature of the Imperium's defenses and the willingness of its heroes to fight side by side, regardless of chapter or rank.
It is. Shows how dire the situation can get.
What about the Librarians? Those who wield the power of the warp. They bring a unique and often misunderstood power to the battlefield. What role do they play in the Deathwatch?
Librarians are invaluable to any Deathwatch kill team. They can shield their brothers from psychic attacks, unleash devastating psychic blasts, even delve into the minds of their foes to gather intel.
It must be difficult to find librarians who are willing to serve in the Deathwatch. I mean, many chapters are suspicious of psychic powers, even fearful of them.
You're not wrong, but those who do serve, they prove their worth time and time again. Take librarian Ashok of the Angel Sanguine, for example.
What's his story?
Well, he was known for his mastery over the Black Rage. And during an engagement against the Tyranids, he faced down 3 Tyranid zoanthropes.
3 zoanthropes. Those things are creatures of pure psychic power. I can't imagine facing even 1, let alone 3.
And Ashok not only faced them, he survived.
Yeah.
It's a testament to his psychic might, but also his courage, his unwavering resolve.
Truly remarkable. It seems every member of the Deathwatch has these incredible tales of heroism and resilience. It's inspiring, to be honest.
It is. And we haven't even talked about the Tech Marines yet. Those who keep the Deathwatch's arsenal of weapons and armor in peak condition.
The unsung heroes. Their contributions are just as vital as any warrior who wields a bolter or chainsword. They ensure that the Deathwatch has the tools it needs to face the Xenos threat.
And one stands out. Harl Greyweaver, the current Forge Master of Watt Fortress Ariok.
What makes him so special?
He's an Iron Priest from the Space Wolves, known for his unconventional approach to technology and his absolute refusal to use anything that even hints at Xenos influence.
Makes sense considering the Space Wolves' disdain for anything that isn't pure, unadulterated Imperial tech.
Right. He's the embodiment of that philosophy.
We've talked about the living members of the Deathwatch, but they're not alone, are they? There are those who continue to serve even after death, entombed within those ancient sarcophagi of the Dreadnots. They're living legends, aren't they?
Yeah, each one a testament to the Imperium's determination to fight on, no matter the cost. They're walking reminders of battles fought and won, of sacrifices made in the name of the Emperor.
What role do these ancient warriors play in the Deathwatch? I mean, they must be more than just relics of a bygone era.
They bring centuries of experience to the battlefield. Their bodies may be broken, but their spirits are unbroken. They are symbols of the Astartes' refusal to surrender, even when all hope seems lost.
Can you give me an example of one of these legendary Dreadnots?
Chiron, a Dreadnought from the Lamenters chapter, believes himself to be the last of his chapter, driven by a need for vengeance against the Tyranids. His rage fuels his every action on the battlefield. A tragic figure, but an inspiring one.
A tragic reminder of the losses suffered by the Imperium, but also a symbol of its enduring strength, its refusal to be broken by the horrors it faces.
Exactly. And let's not forget the sergeants, those who lead the kill teams on the ground, the ones who make sure every mission is executed with precision and absolute ruthlessness. Orton Cassius of the Ultramarines comes to mind.
A true embodiment of what it means to be a Deathwatch sergeant. Duty, self-sacrifice, and unwavering commitment to the mission.
Right. His story is just one of many.
And then there's Demetrian Titus, another Ultramarine. His time with the Deathwatch was shrouded in secrecy. He was a Black Shield, wasn't he?
He was. His name and chapter erased. Known only as Nullus to his brothers. Believed he'd been abandoned by his chapter. It fueled his dedication to the Deathwatch, his relentless pursuit of the Xenos.
A powerful reminder that even within the rigid structure of the Adeptus Astartes, there's room for redemption, for second chances.
Right, even those who believe they've lost everything can find purpose in the Deathwatch.
But these warriors, these heroes, they need a way to reach the battlefield scattered across the Imperium. They need a fleet, a means of transportation that matches their unique capabilities and operational requirements.
And they have one. The Deathwatch fleet is as specialized as the warriors it transports. They favor smaller, faster vessels suitable for the rapid deployment and extraction of kill teams. Modified destroyers, even captured vessels are common sights amongst their ranks.
A fleet born of necessity. I mean, they can't rely on the lumbering battle fleets of the Imperial Navy. They need vessels that can get in and out quickly, strike with precision, and vanish before the enemy even knows what hit them.
And then there are the kill ships. Those autonomous vessels designed for a single purpose: world destruction.
They're a chilling reminder of the lengths the Imperium will go to ensure its survival. A necessary evil, I suppose, wielded against those who threaten humanity's very existence.
A tool of last resort.
But there's one craft that stands out amongst the Deathwatch fleet, the one that's become synonymous with their operational style, the Corvus Black Star.
Ah, the Black Star, a marvel of Imperial engineering. Versatile, reliable, it can penetrate enemy defenses, deliver surgical strikes, and extract kill teams with incredible speed and precision.
A perfect match for the Deathwatch's hit-and-run tactics.
And each Black Star is piloted by a veteran tech marine who's formed a deep connection with their craft. They spend years training, mastering every system, becoming one with the machine. They can push it to its limits and beyond, confident in its ability to bring them home safely.
And its weaponry, what makes it so effective in combat?
Oh, it's armed to the teeth. Air-ground missiles, rockets, grenade launchers. It can rain destruction down on anything. But it's not just about offense. It's also equipped with robust defensive systems. It's a craft designed to survive, to deliver its payload and return its precious cargo to safety, no matter the odds.
The perfect tool for the Deathwatch. A blend of speed, firepower, and resilience. But let's shift our focus back to the warriors themselves, their appearance. What sets a Deathwatch Space Marine apart visually from his brethren in other chapters?
It's pretty striking. When a Space Marine joins the Deathwatch, they ritually repaint their power armor in the black and silver scheme, a symbol of their dedication to the Long Watch, the extermination of the Xenos threat.
Black for the darkness they face, silver for the Emperor's light that guides them, but they retain their chapter icon, right?
Yeah, they keep their original chapter icon on their right shoulder guard, a mark of respect for their roots, the chapter that forged them into the warriors they are today.
A clever way to honor their past while embracing their new role as Xenos hunters. And the Deathwatch iconography.
It's prominently displayed on their left shoulder. The inquisitorial eye, with a skull and crossed bones, represents their connection to the Ordo Xenos and their grim purpose. And they often adorn their armor with purity seals, chapter-specific icons, devotional scripts, all reinforcing their faith and dedication.
It's as if they're walking reliquaries, each piece of their armor a testament to their journey, their unwavering commitment.
They are symbols of the Imperium's will to survive, to overcome any threat. A blend of tradition, technology, and unwavering faith. A nightmare to the Xenos and a beacon of hope to the citizens of the Imperium. It's been fascinating to learn so much about this secretive organization. The Deathwatch, truly one of the most elite and enigmatic forces in the Imperium. They operate in the shadows, their victories often unsung, but their impact on the galaxy is undeniable. They are the shield that protects humanity from the horrors that lurk beyond the stars, a testament to the enduring strength and resilience of the Imperium.
And with that, we conclude our deep dive into the Deathwatch. Their story is a testament to the courage, the dedication, and the unwavering faith that defines the Adeptus Astartes. Until next time, may the Emperor protect.